What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your man Wise, and we have to check this clip out right here. Scott Jennings, once again, causes this entire panel to melt down. It is crazy how much one man can get under these people's skin. Now, there's a word on the street that the folks over on this show and some others aren't real happy with Scott Jennings, but I don't think they're going to be able to get rid of him because he is ratings gold. Not only for this show and Abby, but also for CNN. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it.
It's almost like Trump with the tariffs kind of took the heat off of Elon after what happened in Wisconsin, because he needs it. He's been having a really rough few weeks, and Republicans in Congress and elsewhere are getting nervous, and they would like him to turn the dial down on some of this stuff.
Yeah, I was on with you guys some weeks ago, and I said that the Republicans were going to have to bench Elon Musk, that they were going to have to put him on the bench. He is deeply, deeply unrelatable when you look at him. And then he doesn't seem to talk about the American people as if they're actually people. He's running his wing of the country in a very dollars and cents, like Neo from the Matrix way. And he doesn't seem to have that little empathy chip that allows a person to understand when you're talking about somebody's job, when you're talking about somebody's future, when you say that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. I immediately think of my grandmother. And anyone who thought of grandmothers wouldn't say that. So after a while, the shtick was going to get old, and it was going to cost the Republicans electorally. It's a matter of time.
Can somebody in the chat find the clip where Elon said that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme? I hadn't seen it, nor have I heard it. I'm glad to see Van is on the show without a cowboy hat. I'm glad to see that. But I mean, these people, I'm just convinced that people they make stuff up, man.
I mean, it's more than having empathy, Gene. He has said recently that the Western civilization's greatest failure is empathy, which many people would argue is actually one of the better hallmarks of a civilization worth the name. And there is a political backlash. I mean, Harry Enton's run through the numbers a million times, but the reality is that he is deeply unpopular. Now, he put a lot of personal capital and financial capital into this Wisconsin race. It didn't go his way, but at some point, all the knives are out. And he's a great entrepreneur. You got to give him credit for that. He is one of the great entrepreneurs of our time. But this incarnation of Elon Musk is causing massive damage.
I'm just going to channel Kara Swisher here for 2 seconds and note that he did not create Tesla. He came into Tesla, and many of his other companies as well. But
That doesn't negate that he's not a great entrepreneur. Tesla did not have a working prototype when he got there. And so many other, of the organizations that he's been a part of. Dude's a great thinker. He can see an idea and say it's good, put his money behind it, and then he can help grow it and turn it into something that is usable by a lot of people out there. And the fact that she had to bring out the fact that, well, he's not an inventor, he didn't actually create this. I mean, come on, man, stop it. Stop it. These people will stop at nothing to discredit Elon or to discredit, President Trump. What people got to understand is Trump is doing what needs to be done, but I don't think he's doing it with the thoughts that, hey, I want to run in 28. The goal is to turn the nation around. Now, we'll see what happens with the tariffs. I'm hoping that they work, but if they don't, he will be able to say, hey, I came up with a solution. We tried it. It didn't work. Okay, we're going to go in a different direction. We're going to try something else. But operating the country as it is right now, it's a recipe for failure.
I like this headline from CNN Business. It said, in short, voters, customers, investors, and the MAGA elite say the Elon Musk show has lost the plot. His companies are having a hard time with this. And I do think that there's something about this Wisconsin race that was so interesting in the way that Elon really kind of put his money front and center. He wasn't just saying, I'm using my voice as a citizen to push for the guy I like. He was like, let me just hand out some checks, and this is how we're going to win this thing. And I do think that there was always a risk that voters were going to say, that's not how this country works. And we don't like that. And some of that backlash no question, hurt the Republicans.
What do you mean that's not how this country works? People don't donate money to political campaigns?
No.
and then
What I'm saying is that the idea that a billionaire hands people checks for votes is not how the country works.
I don't think that's accurate. He wasn't handing people checks.
So if
for
George
votes.
Soros were to say, "Oh, I'm going to give away $1 million to a random 5 people who go out and vote on this day," what would you say?
Look, all kinds of billionaires spent money in this race. I think you guys are dramatically overreading the results. A liberal seat stayed in liberal hands and got about the same percentage of the vote as the last Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. It's absolutely true. He stuck his neck out for someone that he thought was important, and you don't win every time you try in politics. I think his electoral record, though, beyond that, is pretty good. Chiefly, I think he was one of the key reasons why Donald Trump got elected president last November. And so, in the pantheon of his political engagements, this is a minor blip compared to the major success of helping Donald Trump regain the White House. He's a great entrepreneur. I think his companies and he personally are getting all sorts of negative attention and even vandalism and all these violent attacks, and it's terrible. I know personally that he's been getting death threats, all for the sin of having been a liberal who decided to support Donald Trump and then go serve in his government for a short period of time. It's outrageous.
It's actually not true. I just want to say something real quick. I understand it. A lot of people want to frame this as people started to hate Elon Musk or not like Elon Musk once Elon Musk decided to support Donald Trump. It's just not true.
I definitely think it's true.
It's definitely not true.
Definitely
Scott.
true.
It started long before then. When Elon Musk bought Twitter, hate speech just erupted on Twitter. Elon Musk's flirting with Nazism and far right type of stuff for a couple of years before this has gotten people off the Elon Musk bandwagon way before he decided to.
I think chronologically that is accurate.
So you're saying when he challenged the liberal ownership of Twitter, that's when the liberals started to hate him?
No.
So it is true.
No, not when he challenged the.
I mean, do you guys realize that Twitter, when it was called Twitter, never turned a profit the entire time that company existed? Jack Dorsey and the liberal cronies that he had over there made Twitter a cesspool for, just far left progressive lunatics. There was no balance. They did a study on CNN saying that X is now one of the balance of right and left, conservative, progressive. It's as balanced as we are going to get. But the thing is that you got people on the left, they don't want free speech. They don't want balance. They want their voices to be able to overshadow those that they disagree with. And that is a problem. And that's why they're upset. And I will agree with Van. His favorability and his popularity started to wane once he took away the advantage from liberals on X or Twitter. Once that happened and he started saying, hey, this is just going to be a free speech platform. You're going to be able to hear from voices on the right and voices on the left. We will not censor anybody. Once that happened, people on the left, they lost their minds. So much so that they've decided that, hey, we're going to leave and we're going to go somewhere else where no one is actually there. I mean, it's crazy.
It's not about challenging.
I don't think it's about. I don't think it's
it.
solely about Donald Trump. I think it is to Van's point that he has been. Even before he owned Twitter, actually, before he bought it, before he wanted to buy it, he was turning his personal platform into a place where conspiracy theories, harassment, he accused a random person of pedophilia. It was sued for it. I mean, this was happening years ago, before all of this.
I agree with Scott that we shouldn't make too much of the Wisconsin thing. And in fact, I think there was a bit of a Streisand effect here. I think if Elon hadn't injected himself into Wisconsin politics, it might not have gotten as much attention, and it
100%.
might have. Right. So I don't even know that. Anyway. So that's one thing. But I also think he has done exactly what he was meant to do. Exactly what Donald Trump wanted him to do in all the ways. The heat shield. I mean, the crap that he has done and the incoming he has dealt with took a lot of heat off of Donald Trump for the first couple of months of his presidency. That was important, I think, for Donald Trump. And wrecking, the U.S. government, I think, is exactly what Donald Trump wanted him to do. The idea that they would be upset with him doesn't make sense to me, doesn't ring true to me.
I don't think that President Trump is upset. I think that he is happy with the job that Elon is doing. And to be honest with you, what Elon did in that Wisconsin race, and even though, the Republican judge lost, what he did do, which in my opinion is in the success, is that he put the country on notice. Republicans, independents, conservatives on notice that every race matters. Local and national, they matter. And yeah, it was a loss there, but in all actuality, it wasn't a loss because the real race and the real battle is going to be next year in 26, and people cannot be complacent. So honestly, it's a win because it was a wake-up call to all the people that got complacent and was thinking that life is going to be great because President Trump is in office. This was the wake-up call to let it be known, like, hey, man, there's many more battles to fight and there's many more battles to win. Seriously. And that's what they're upset about because it woke up a people that thought that everything was okay. And that's what they're really upset about. That's why they're upset that Elon was in the midst up there in Wisconsin, because normally this is a race that a liberal judge, they would have won it and it would have been quiet. Nobody would have talked about it and it would have been a feather under their cap. But the fact that it made national news because Elon went up there, and the fact that everybody's been talking about this and they seen the loss, and they also found out that, yeah, they're upset that Elon pumped in some money, into the Republican candidate over there. But people also found out that there were billions upon billions of dollars that was pumped into this race from the other side, from the Soros and the Reid Hoffmans of the world, and so many others, outsiders outside of Wisconsin. So this was a wake-up call. And that's what they're upset about, because now we're paying attention. Now people across the country are not looking at these local elections, these local judgeship cases, the governor, the mayor races. They're looking at these races, these city council races, all of these. They're looking at it and saying, like, all this stuff matters. And that's why they're upset. Now, word on the street is that Abby Phillips isn't very happy with Scott Jennings behind the scenes. That's the word on the streets. That's the word through the scuttlebutt. And the reason why she's upset is because she feels like Scott Jennings is stealing her shine on her show. Because every time Scott Jennings shows up, the ratings double. Yes, double. And when he's not on there and it's just, that liberal echo chamber, and every now and again they'll have, a couple, Republicans on there, but they just don't push. They just don't move the needle like Scott Jennings does. They just don't. And she's frustrated behind it. It's her show. She feels like she should be the one being discussed and getting all the shine, but that is definitely not the case. Every now and again, when Scott's not there, they'll throw in at least one solid conservative voice. But again, that individual doesn't typically push or move the needle. And, people don't really pay a lot of attention to the show. But when Scott Jennings is on there, man, the ratings are through the roof. And you got a lot of rumors flying. And Abby's reportedly upset. And she's being somewhat difficult behind the scenes. And there's tension brewing over there at CNN. And let's be honest, Scott Jennings doesn't need CNN. CNN needs Scott Jennings. Whatever platform that he is on, people tend to watch. So if he walks, they're going to be in trouble. Because there's not going to be a whole lot of reason for people to continue to watch CNN. Let's just keep it a buck. Now, I heard that Scott Jennings making, somewhere around about $500,000 a year, to go over there and, be on the different shows and be a correspondent on different shows over there. That's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit if, he launched his own thing. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. He could probably go independent and do better than what he's doing on CNN. He probably could. Now, when his contract comes to an end, maybe they will offer him more to stay because they know that he is ratings gold. Maybe they'll even offer him his own show. I don't know. I really don't know. But a lot of people out there, act like, they're being, shocked by, Trump. And, let's be honest, man. When it comes to Trump, man, the outrage, the outrage, I guess it might be warranted. Maybe it is what he wanted, and it has something to do with Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. And as Abby said it, she was like, oh, well, he didn't necessarily find or found, Tesla, but he turned it into a powerhouse. Hey, he's done more with SpaceX. He's done more with SpaceX with less money than all of what has been spent via NASA. And Starlink is a monster. He's not just an inventor, he's a visionary. He's just not. And the left loved him before he bought Twitter and leaned right. And all of a sudden, the media turns on him, especially CNN. It's crazy, man. And what we know about the left is that they're turning on each other. They're turning on each other right now. Elon Musk doesn't care. President Trump doesn't care. They're too busy handling business. Simple as that. President Trump understands that he's got 4 years to turn this daggone nation around, fundamentally change and turn this nation around. You either going to get with it or you're going to sit back and complain. But he's been a success in pretty much everything that he's touched and that he's done. So I'm willing to bet on him. I'm willing to bet on him. There are people out there speculating. The sad part about it is you got people like Abby and others on the left praying that he fails, which means that they pray that this nation fails, which is what I've been saying for a long time, is that the left and these Democrats, they want to see this country fall. They want to see it. We're doing everything that we can to make sure that that doesn't happen. We have people in office that want to see this country succeed, not just for themselves, but for the people that are coming up behind them. And we literally have people in legacy media and people on the other side of the aisle that want to see this nation crumble. And it's sad, man. It really is. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. I appreciate the support, the love. If you want to go the extra mile, join the ARP family, or you can buy your man a coffee. Link in the description box below. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.